Hello, welcome to the program from the Villa. This is a program that keeps you in the know and brings together events and significance of the presidential villa. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to the Constitution 4th Alteration Bill, which grants financial autonomy to the state houses of assembly and the state's judiciary. The senior special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang, confirmed this development and explains that with the signing into law of the Constitution Alteration Bill, the state houses of assembly would now operate like the National Assembly, where Federal Ministry of Finance automatically transferred budgetary allocation directly to the account of the National Assembly. And according to Senator Enang, the president also signed into law the Constitution Amendment number 21, which relates to the determination of pre-election matters. All this in this next report.
I just want to inform you that His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari has today assented to the Constitution 4th Alteration Bill, which grants financial autonomy and independence to the houses of assembly of the respective states and to the judiciary of the respective states. Therefore, upon this signature, the amount standing to the credit of the judiciary are now to be paid directly to the judiciary of those states, no more through the governor and no more from the governors. And then the amount standing to the credit of the houses of assembly of the respective states are now to be paid directly to the houses of assembly of that state for the benefit of the legislators and the management of the state houses of assembly. This grants full autonomy now to the judiciary at the state level and the houses of assembly at the state level. The other one is Act or Bill number 16, which is now an act. And the intent of that act is to ensure that where a president or a vice president succeeds the president, and where a governor, a deputy governor succeeds a governor, he can no more contest for that office more than once more. And the fact is that having taken the oath as president once, and you can only contest for once again and no more.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called on African countries to diversify their economies and look beyond oil-based revenue for future prosperity. The Vice President said this while declaring open the extraordinary session of the Council of Ministers of African Petroleum Producers Organization. And according to the Vice President, while oil and gas have continued to remain the mainstay of African economies, there is a need for the reinvestment of oil revenues through diversification to prevent economic crisis resulting from overdependence on the product. In this next report.
Declaring the extraordinary session of the Council of Ministers of African Petroleum Producer Organization open, the Vice President emphasized the importance of redoubling efforts at using oil and gas revenue to pursue diversification, investment in infrastructure and human capital, which, according to him, will ensure future economic growth and development.
The lesson here is that while oil and gas will continue to be critical to our revenue bases and our national economies, we must redouble our efforts to achieve the following. One, to diversify our economies away from the dangerous overdependence. And two, to ensure that we invest as much as is possible of today's current oil and gas revenues in the infrastructure and human capital that will underpin future economic growth and development.
He emphasized that a revitalized African Petroleum Producing Organization will contribute tremendously to development of African oil and gas industry. He therefore called on Apple to open up its organization in a way that non-Apple members and private institutions will be able to invest.
It is important to acknowledge that the relationship of our various countries with oil and gas is in an interesting and somewhat complicated mode. It is, for many of us, the mainstay of our economies, delivering much-needed government revenues and foreign exchange to our economies.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, who took over leadership of APO on June 11, 2018, says the only way growth in oil production can take place is through an independent approach. It therefore called for cooperation among member states in achieving such growth.
And so the only way growth will happen in this sector in the whole of Africa is an interdependence approach. All of us must be able to hold hands and find a way of supporting one another in terms of the research, in terms of internal investment potentials and capabilities, and help to drive a process. But more fundamental, we also must be in a position to have a lot of best learning from some of the 3 or 4 major producer countries that have been in this for quite a long time as the new ones are coming on board.
The economies of African countries tend to pale in significance to other continents, as it is hoped that the outcome of this extraordinary session would help plug the obvious gap.
When we come back after this break, we'll talk about President Muhammadu Buhari assenting to the 9.1 trillion 2017 appropriation bill. Join me after this break.
London, New York or Lagos, business or holiday, home or office. You can now carry out your tax transactions from anywhere in the world. You can now file all your tax returns, pay online, get a receipt and even process your tax clearance certificate from anywhere in the world online and in real time. All you need to do is log on to www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-services and be introduced to the world of innovation, convenience and transparency from the FIRS. You can also pay stamp duty as you register a new company with the CAC or for other transactions that require stamp duty payment online. You can also file your withholding tax returns and determine the withholding tax deducted from you is in government covers so that you can get your receipt within 45 days as long as the deduction has been remitted. Yes, all of this and more online at www.firs.gov.ng/e-services. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC. Please note that all FIRS services are free of charge. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It pays to pay your tax.
You're welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari will assent to the 9.1 trillion 2017 appropriation bill next week, and this is according to Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, who announced this while briefing State House correspondents on the outcome of Wednesday's meeting of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the President. However, the presidential aide could not say when exactly next week the President will sign. Well, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, also briefed on the approvals of 4 memos conceded and approved under the Federal Ministry of Justice in the area of open government partnership to strengthen and institutionalize the drive against corruption.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the memoranda of the Ministry of Power Works and Housing for the construction of road rehabilitation and repairs of 14 roads across Nigeria. According to the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, who stood in for the Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, the project will cost a total of 185 billion naira. It disclosed that the President will sign the 2018 budget next week.
Next week. You will be told the specific day, but the one thing we are sure of is that the budget will be signed next week. There are 14 of them in different parts of the country. You have Goza, Damboa, Goniri, Ngamdu Road in Yobe and Borno states. That's for rehabilitation. Also for rehabilitation, Mayo Beowa, Jada Ganye, Tongo Road in Adamawa State.
For the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Council approved the award of a contract for the construction of Phase 2 and completion of Industrial Training Fund, ITF, Multipurpose Training and Conference Center in Abuja in the sum of 6.5 billion naira.
The importance of this is that, as you know, Industrial Training Fund is probably the most important agency of government when it comes to training, particularly vocational training and skills acquisition. And Abuja is a very important center of training for ITF, and it's been training people in a facility it has that can train 319 people per session. With this investment in this training building, it can increase our capacity to about 1,200 people per session each time. So it's a fairly big facility.
The Council also considered and approved 2 memoranda from the Ministry of Health, with the Minister, Isaac Adewale, explaining what they are all about.
the relevance of the bill could actually be appreciated when one considered some happenings in the past when food export from Nigeria was banned in Europe. And we believe that what is required is for us to strengthen institutional framework that will enable various agencies of government to work together. Part of the institutional framework in the bill is to set up a full safety council in Nigeria that will be chaired by His Excellency the Vice President.
The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, briefed on the approvals of 4 memos considered and approved under the Federal Ministry of Justice in the area of open government partnership to strengthen and institutionalize the drive against corruption.
Council today, among the items is a memorandum that seeks to strengthen prevention measures and institutions on the part of implementations of the President's London commitments on anti-corruption and open government partnership. If you recall, sometimes back in 2016, precisely during the London Anti-Corruption Summit, Mr. President has given commitment to the implementation of open government partnership. In pursuance of that commitment, Nigeria has indeed registered as a member of the Global Open Government Partnership, the essence of which to give commitment to transparency in governance, accountability in governance, access of the students in governance.
President Muhammadu Buhari extended his sincere apology on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria for the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election. The president spoke at the Special National Honors Investiture of June 12 presidential election winner, late MKO Abiola, and his running mate, Babagana Kindube. And also human rights activist, the late Gani Fayemi, was also honored. It was an event where President Muhammadu Buhari made history.
I'm Hajia Aishatu Imam from Taraba State, Jalingo Local Government. I'm vendor in Sali Udogo Memorial Primary School. I feed 72 students. Today is Friday. We are giving them moi moi for the children. And the ingredients preparing moi moi is beans, egg, crayfish, and I'm using 3 proteins to prepare it. It really helps them and it really reduces hunger. Some students don't used to eat before going to school, but now even if the parents have nothing to provide for them, they get it in the school, and through that their learning process progress.
The banquet hall of the presidential villa is filled to its brim. The guest list is endless as the nation converged to witness one of the greatest announcements to be made by a sitting president on the continent of Africa. The galaxy of men and women here gathered are members of the Nigerian society who suffered varied bruises from the military. They had waged a democratically intellectual war against the military in a bid to reclaim a stolen mandate by the Ibrahim Badamasi-led military administration. Those of them here are those who are fortunate. They survived the lethal messages delivered by the military while withholding the mandate of the people, which the population, in spite of whatever leanings had handed their own or canker for of the Yoruba race.
And to preside over the commemoration and the investiture, marking the formal official federal government recognition of June 12 as National Democracy Day.
President Muhammadu Buhari there announcing the new date for National Democracy Day celebration amidst a thunderous ovation from the guests, among whom are the actors of June 12. The nation is finding a new path to reinforced peace and unity among the divergent population whom were united 25 years ago in 1993 by the June 12 elections and mandate handed to late Moshood Kashimawo or Lawali Abiola to pilot the affairs of the nation. Before the official pronouncement, The enemies of the state struck and aborted the official declaration of the result. For 25 years, the nation will. The anguish of that aborted experience has been described as colossal to the nation in every aspect of her life. For paying the supreme price, President Muhammadu Buhari believes the winner of the June 12 mandate, Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, deserve a state recognition and act of penance. Although the act of grave injustice to Abiola and Nigerians was one carried out by the military head of state, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, against the will of the people, President Buhari believes the state has wronged the late Moshood Kashimawo Abiola. Demonstrating this conviction, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria humbly says the unthinkable.
Accordingly, on behalf of the federal government, I tender the nation's apology to the family of late MKO Abiola, who got the highest vote, and to those that lost their loved ones in the course of June 12 struggle.
The move was a masterstroke for the nation to thread a new path to healing the wounds that have festered over the past 25 years. For many of those who sat in the banquet hall hearing these words, it was sweet music to them. These are the survivors of the brutality that followed the military refusal to honor the mandate of the people. The president, by that singular act, demystified the seeming impossibility of tackling the act of injustice, a nation inflicted on itself through bad leadership and desperate men who sought to cling to power by all means. The presidential recognition of this date comes also with conferring of the nation's highest honor to the leading presidential candidate in that elections, known to be the freest and fairest elections in the history of the country electoral experience. Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, who in doggedness and defense of the mandate paid the supreme price. As the president honors Moshood Kashimawo Abiola with the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, Babagana Kingibe, the running mate to late MKO in the 1993 June 12 election, also gets the honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. Posthumous award for June 12 did not end with Abiola. It also reached the late advocate of the masses and senior advocate of Nigeria, late Gani Fawemi, who championed legal actions in defense of the mandate and stood by those who stood for it. For the daughter of the man whom Nigerians gave the June 12 mandate, the action was indeed mind-blowing, as she mounts to commend the courage of the president to defend the truth, even though it has been long.
President Muhammadu Buhari, Nelson Mandela it was who said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." Who would have ever believed, given the relationship that you had with Chief N.K. Abiola, that you would be the instrument God would use to honor this man and to bring reconciliation and healing to the country. You apologized to my family, and it touched my heart. You know that I lost also my mother in this struggle. So that apology meant so much. Let me use this opportunity on behalf of Chief N.K. Abiola, because I know what he would have done. Let me use this opportunity to apologize to you, to apologize to your family for anything that he might have done to harm you and to harm your family.
With the record set straight, President Muhammadu Buhari proceeds to explain the rationale of the national gesture.
Our decision to recognize and honor June 12 and its actors is in the national interest. It is aimed at settling national healing process and the reconciliation of the 25-year festering wound caused by the annulment of the June 12 elections.
The action of the president enjoys a popular acceptability, with Nigerians from all sides of the political divide commending the president for his courageous deeds. It is not surprising to the president because the truth is enduring and will always have the army standing in her defense.
Mr. President, to take the decision to recognize June 12 required courage, conviction. A fair-minded man who is clear in his head regarding what is right and what's wrong, what is just, and what constitutes travesty of justice.
Making further commendation of the president's actions to her family and the June 12 family across the country. The daughter of the winner of the June 12 election informs the president of the implication of his action to the development of Nigeria.
Let me say to you that by recognizing June 12, you are waking so many heroes of Nigeria's struggle and heroines who have shown, because they stood firm on June 12, that money cannot buy them. If there's any march that we need to march, they will march. If there's any protest that we need to be present at, they will protest. You have called up your own new army for the defense of this country. President Muhammadu Buhari, this fight will not take you, God willing, as it has taken MKO, but let us fight and bring about the conclusion of MKO's struggle, that the Nigerian people should be the ones in full control of this country. It is not for a few landlords, whoever they may be. It is for the 200 million people of Nigeria.
For other actors in the June 12 struggle, present at the award ceremony, the president's recognition of this truth touches on the heart of the nation's unity and development and tasks him to remain resolute on the path of justice. That's it on this week's edition of the program from the Villa. Thank you very much for your time. I am Olajumoke Olatiji. Please join me again next week and please pay your tax. Bye for now.